Has this guy been uploading for less than a year? He's always been uploading this. No, I feel like I'm uncovering some deep truths here. Is this some state-sponsored propaganda bullshit shadow? But it's so funny though.
Does anybody else?
Do you want to watch another one? This thing has 2.5 million views. Do you want to watch this? It's so surreal. So surreal.
I feel like masculinity has slowly been drained from modern video games. I was looking at recent staff photos of Ubisoft and Halo Infinite developers.
Oh my god, there's women?
And it's all starting to make sense. It's a bunch of fat, white, liberal women. And white, liberal women
nobody here is fucking fat, but
and have no interest in masculine, manly,
and even
male
if they
characters.
were, I don't think
they wouldn't even know how to write one if they tried.
Sure.
This is why Rockstar, a company founded by men that at least in 2018 was still mostly run by men, created the magnum opus Red Dead Redemption 2, a game with a manly, well-written main protagonist, Arthur Morgan. If you want to see the seismic shift away from masculine characters, honestly, all you need to do is play a few games from 2006, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Consider how many masculine military games came out in the 2000s. Medal of Honor, Call of Duty, Brothers in Arms, Gears of War, Operation Flashpoint, Rainbow Six, Ghost Recon, Splinter Cell. All of these games were starring men and had themes like brotherhood, duty, sacrifice,
and
honor.
listen out to the RB, guys.
Almost all of these franchises have either been killed off, turned into
we still have a Rainbow Six game, I think. Right? Ghost Recon, Call of Duty. And I don't think any of these games have died because of the woke agenda. I think they died way before the woke agenda came to be.
Multiplayer games or went woke. I often wonder why so few modern games
oh no, a black character in my game
appeal to me. And I think another big reason is this. Everything is just so gay now.
No.
Compare the games I just mentioned to the modern trash we have to deal with in Overwatch and Apex.
Overwatch, my goat.
Almost every character in these new games is either gay, lesbian, bisexual, trans, or something else. Like, what happened to a masculine dude with a hot chick on his arm? I love the idea of Xbox Game Pass, but I swear every time I open it...
Why can't you be the masculine dude with a chick? Why need you to roleplay? Why do you need to roleplay this? Go be the masculine dude. Get a woman. Get bitches, bro. Go get some hoes. You be the masculine man. Go do it. Go get it, Tiger, bro. The fucking...
it up and look for new games. There's just so many games that look gay.
The gay-looking games. Slime Rancher 2. Forager, No Man's Sky, Train Sim World, Rank 1 gay
now. I refuse to play
Valheim. Ah yes, by Gay Goat right here.
2D platformer or a game with a cutesy art style by some indie developer anymore. I'm just done with these games.
Wasteland, CEO of gayness right here, boys. Superliminal.
If you want my 100% real thoughts
Racing
on this, I just think the entire video game industry has gone woke and gay. And almost nothing they are making appeals to me in any way anymore. So this is why I mostly...
Why did he cut off so awkwardly there?
...play 20-year-old games on my channel, because they were just better. I was recently reading an insider interview about what went down at Volition Studios with the disastrous Saints Row reboot from an inside...
I do want to point out that Saints Row has been garbage for quite some time. I do want to point out that Saints Row, the reboot, is garbage. I do want to point out it's really bad. But... I feel like Saints Row has been bad for quite some time now.
Source. This source said that the LGBTQ community within the company was actually pretty small, but they are the loudest and the most annoying, and the company leadership chose to promote these people into key roles. And that's how you get the absolute dumpster fire.
I don't even know if there was anything queer in the new Saints Row, but I highly doubt that the reason why the game failed was because there were queer people working on it.
Of a game that was Saints Row 2022. I think what you have at a lot of these game studios is about 80% of the staff is probably just hetero dudes trying to do their job, but they're afraid of speaking up or saying what they actually think. And then you have the LGBTQ folks.
I do want to point out that this video of this woman here she was crying, I think, about Donald Trump being elected as a president. I don't even know why people use this image, but
folks making decisions about what kind of game to make.
A crying woman
and everything just ends up being safe and soft and sensitive because
the CEO of queer. what was it, of cancel culture. Safe, soft, inoffensive.
He can't hurt anybody's feelings.
He's talking about his... No, never mind.
Feelings. So of course you get these shitty dumpster fire video games that nobody wants to play. After reading a lot of insider interviews with these developers, this is my sense of what has been happening. I also feel like there's this kind of unholy alliance right now between games.
Game award winner, purveyor of shitty war games, insufferable Kotaku editor who gets dragged on the internet. Who is this person?
Journalists, white liberal women at game studios, and the LGBTQ community at game studios. And they all seem to be united around one thing. They actually hate gamers. And who are gamers? Overwhelmingly, well, heterosexual dudes like us, of course.
I do want to point out that around 40-something% of gamers are women.
This recent Reddit thread was written by an actual game developer and made me realize this. It reads, headline,
"Am I allowed to say this? I kind of hate gamers. I'm a professional game designer and I'm worried that I'm starting to hate gamers. Watching the gaming events on YouTube last month with the chat on was extremely disheartening experience. Every time a character that wasn't a cis-het white man appeared on screen, the chats would fill with messages calling the game woke or complaining about DEI. Every game that wasn't a shooter or a hyper-casual competitive online game garnered zzz and boring comments. I've seen people implying that the MC in Fable trailers is ugly because it's a self-insert of some random level designer working at Playground whom they deemed not fuckable enough. I don't know, it's just the internet magnifying negative voices, I guess, doing what it does best. But it's making me real tired of gamers."
So at this point, it seems that...
Why did he not finish it? Oh, okay, he did finish it. I understand. Am I crazy? I feel like this guy is completely based. It is super tiring. You click on the chat, you can get a really cool single player game or something. It's not hyper, fast. People just type Resident Sleeper, and it is super annoying. People keep complaining about game developers all the time, but they don't even know how to develop they don't even know how to make one frame of anything. They can't even type an if statement. I kind of based opinion though. Gamers are fucking stupid.
But it's making me real tired of gamers.
So at this point, it seems that games journalists and all of the liberal LGBT mafia that work at game studios actually hate.
But mind you, I do want to point out that if you read chat or online or anything as a game dev or like anyone that does anything social or you need to interact with the community, you are cooking yourself. You shouldn't. It is so bad. People will trash talk you no matter what. You could be fucking LeBron James.
And this is a comment I keep reading from you guys again and again. I swear they literally hate us.
I like how he uses the same image in every video.
They seem to be dead set on giving their audience exactly what we don't want. How long is your business going to be open if you're dead set on not giving the customer what they want? This is why when skanks like Alyssa Mercante are crying about Kotaku shutting down and losing their jobs, and game studios are going under because they were associated with Sweet Baby Inc., I just laugh.
Who are these people? Who is Sweet Baby Inc? Who are these people?
Let them burn. Let all these companies burn who don't know how to give the audience. The wonderful irony in all this is that it's the very games that the woke cancel mob has tried.
J.K. Rowling is a trans bigot. J.K. Rowling literally sniffs her own moss to get high. She has black mold on her walls.
Cancel that seem to do the best. Remember Hogwarts Legacy? Yeah, men who dress in women's clothes tried to get it canceled. Instead, the game sold 25 million copies. Oops. Remember Elden Ring? Remember how the woke mob tried to accuse FromSoft games of having, quote, problematic depictions of women?
When? I feel like Elden Ring has a very low amount of sexualized women. Even Melania has like one of the most realistic body types for a woman. She just looks like a woman. She's not crazy curvy. She has, fat. She's not fucking thin as a rock with massive booba. When did people complain about this? Disorder with Elden Ring's problematic female representation. You can't really see this, but there's one vote. I don't remember this happening, mind you. So I think maybe there's a reason, but there's one vote on the bottom.
Oops. Sold 25 million copies. At this point, making an offensive game seems to guarantee...
I did want to point out that Elden Ring, spoilers for the DLC, two brothers have a gay incestuous relationship and they're self-cessed, and there's a lot of really woke stuff in the game. But
that game's success. We could talk about Stellar Blade, pissing off all of the liberal progressives, and yet everybody went out and bought it. Okay, so in the rest of this video, I want to give you 4 examples of a game or game series going from masculine to feminine or gay.
When did Wolfenstein get gay? Is it because they made a DLC about 2 women?
And it basically either killed or ruined the franchise. Number 1, Ubisoft and Red Storm Entertainment. So Red Storm Entertainment was a video game company founded by the legendary Tom Clancy to make Tom Clancy video games. He sold the company to Ubisoft in the year 2000, and Ubisoft in the 2000s actually had some balls and made some of the manliest games you've ever seen. There were the Splinter Cell games, the Ghost Recon games,
Far Cry 2
the
was
Rainbow
based,
Six
to be
games,
honest.
and the Far Cry games.
Far Cry 2 was based.
All of these games pretty much feature exclusively men, and these IPs in the 2000s had so much testosterone, just a single glance from a woman in their direction.
A pregnant woman, ow.
I mean, motherfucking Sam Fisher, come on.
Come on.
The dude is the ultimate Giga Chad. Scott Mitchell in Ghost Recon. Now, you pick your own character in Far Cry 2, but it's definitely a manly game that will put hair on your chest. So what is Red Storm Entertainment up to today? Well, I recently saw that Tom Clancy's The Division Heartland is being led by a man who dresses in women's clothes in his free time.
Berserk Tattoo based. Berserk Tattoo based.
Led by a man who
Berserk Tattoo based
dresses in women's clothes in his free time. Now, look, I don't give a shit if you want to identify.
I do want to point out that it is none of my business who does what with their bodies, but I think that's, even if somebody had a problem with this, I don't think majority of queer people do this.
As a dragon and go around laying magic eggs, but can we agree that the least masculine thing on earth you can do is dress in women's clothes? Tom Clancy would be rolling over in his grave right now if he knew the absolute disaster that Red Storm Entertainment had become. Number 2, Wolfenstein. So I was recently playing Wolfenstein: The New Order for the first time, which came out in 2014. And I have to say, of all the games, I was sure we're going to avoid woke Western progressivism.
Oh no, they have female protagonists
there. The first 3 entries of the reboot were all fantastic. They had the badass BJ Blazkowicz, unit as the main character, ripping apart entire armies of Nazis with the sexy and smart Anya as his arm candy and wife. Machine Game's first 3 Wolfenstein entries, which came out in
I like it when my women are useless and just eye candy. Fuck yeah, baby.
2015, and 2017 are all great. They have normal men and women doing normal shit in them. Awesome. But of course, the woke mob
wait.
To get involved.
Is he gonna complain about the fact that there's a fascist woman leading the regime, or is that gonna be his take?
Somehow. So you have a beloved series with a beloved, tough, male, manly main character. Do you suppose it's a good idea to kill off that guy and replace him with...
Okay, why wouldn't he complain about a woman being the villain, a fascist woman being the villain? How is that not a problem for his masculine game? He needs to fight women. It's not a male on male battle. Why are they giving women positions of power, guys? Actually, what the hell is going on? What the
main character? Do you suppose it's a good idea to kill off that guy and replace him with cringy girl boss characters?
No.
Wolfenstein Youngblood came out in 2019, and it's an absolute tone-deaf disaster.
No
so
way.
many modern video games, I find myself asking, who wanted this? Who asked for this? I often ask the same thing of
women in my game.
Of the new Star Wars shows by Kathleen Kennedy as well. The Wolfenstein reboot had the perfect synergy of story and gameplay. You are BJ Blazkowicz unleashing his rage on the Nazis for killing everyone he loved. You see this come across in his brutal assassinations, like sticking a rusty pipe through the eye socket of an SS Waffen commander. But the setup to Wolfenstein Youngblood is incredibly cringe. In it, you play as BJ's daughters, and they're honestly nothing like him. The first time you kill somebody...
Why would you want them to be like him? Why do they have to be like him?
Okay. They don't really want to do it. And when they finally kill the guy, they have to have lattes and talk about it afterwards. Youngblood is a perfect example of how a cutscene can go so wrong in a game. BJ's setup is perfect and explains to you why you're doing the actions you're doing. BJ's daughters, however, are acting like they're in an episode of Big Bang Theory the whole time. But oh yeah, they just happen to be killing Nazis and haha, isn't this so funny? It's tonally all over the place and just so full of cringy and awful cinematics, which is ironic because the cinematics in the first 3
Maybe it's because the games are that game is just mediocre, and not because you have female lead. He never complains about good games that do really well, that have female leads or queer stuff in it. He hasn't mentioned Baldur's Gate. He hasn't mentioned Tomb Raider. He hasn't mentioned anything. He just mentions the games that flop because they just are bad or mediocre. This game was just mediocre. Horizon, no, they pussified Horizon. We know that one.
Games were like so good and short, and they got to the point, and they were really emotional and impactful. Example number 3, Gears of War. For a full explanation of how the woke mob girl bossed Gears of War, see my video on that game, but I'll keep this short. The first 3 Gears games are an incredible trilogy focusing on the bonds and brotherhood between men. They're incredibly...
The Last of Us 1 had a DOC where the main character, you know, she had a lesbian, she was showed as lesbian, but he has no problem with that.
Masculine games focusing on duty and sacrifice and military orders. And I know some of you hate this, but for 10,000 years, it's only been men fighting wars.
This video has 2.5 million views, by the way.
The first 3 games focus on Marcus, Dom, Cole, and Baird and tell a masculine story of brotherhood. Well, the progressive woke mob somehow got to Gears of War, and Gears 4 and 5 are about sisterhood, motherhood, being a traitor, and what it feels like to be a woman. They introduced the character of Kate Diaz, who I don't think anybody gives a single fuck about. What they should have done is put Kate in a spin-off game, not a mainline Gears entry. But here's the problem, of course, nobody would have bought it. So unfortunately, Gears 4 and 5 are basically girl boss, feminist Gears of War.
What am I watching? I don't know.
Masculine story about men
I think Russian propaganda.
Of course, the games include Baird and Marcus in them, but they're really on the back burner. And Gears is now about Kate Diaz, who I've never talked to a Gears fan even cares about.
Do you think he's going to mention...
Example number...
Do you think he's going to mention Russia at the end of the video?
For the Saints Row reboot.
Gears 3 also had main women characters.
Years building up characters and building up a...
I want to point out that Saints Row the Third was kind of mediocre, and it was only fun because of how bad it was. Saints Row 4 was terrible. Get Out of Hell was terrible.
Very distinctive and edgy and male sense of humor. It's the kind of stuff...
I just say Half-Life is in his masculine time frame. The most recent one is Alex, and you play a woman. And what is the best VR game made so far? Of course. Of course. He never complains about any game that is actually good and has a female lead or queer stuff in it. Never. Never. He only picks and chooses games that are just mediocre. They're not mediocre because you have queer people in it. They're mediocre because the people who made them didn't cook enough. And people that make games... They are not, like, straight people don't make always good games, neither do queer people make only good games. People are people, and people sometimes fucking undercook. Doesn't matter if you're straight or fucking gay or a chungus. Doesn't matter.
Stuff you and the guys would laugh at. Some of the recurring characters in Saints Row are Johnny Gat, Julius, Aisha, Shondi, and several others. In these games, the men are men and the women are women. Johnny is edgy and hilarious and always has a hot chick on his arm. The humor is crude and hilarious, and the Saints are always getting into trouble. So what went wrong with the reboot?
I feel like he's reading an AI
the woke
script.
2022 reboot thought it was a good idea to kill off every single character from the old Saints Row games, and I guess
I feel like that's why it's a reboot,
with that.
no?
But don't worry, all of the beloved characters you've come to know and love have been replaced with tokenistic characters from a literal seminar on diversity. You've got the gay Asian man, the girl boss lesbian, another girl boss lesbian, and the gay black guy. The LGBTQ mafia didn't just kill Saints Row, they crucified it on a
pussified
rainbow
by Saints
flag.
Row, bro.
And this is what you get, guys. This is what you fuckers get for supporting these people. They turn out shitty games that aren't funny, that aren't cool, that aren't masculine.
We've never had straight white male dominated games fail and close down their studios in ever. Never happened. Wait, it's only when there's queer characters in your games, guys. Only then.
So stop hiring these people.
Only
Game
then.
developers need to stop putting gay stuff in games, and they need to fire every liberal white
Redfall
woman
success.
if they want us to ever buy
Dead Space
a game
3
again.
success.
Because I'm serious, we are done with this shit. We're not buying these games. Like Phil Spencer is out here complaining about how people aren't spending as much money on games anymore. I guarantee if you give us hetero dudes hot chicks in games again and manly men, you will see sales go through the roof. Bring back the glory days of video games.
Why doesn't this person play any of the new games that are like that? Why doesn't he play Doom, Doom Eternal, Warhammer, Space Marines 2, Helldivers 2? Any of those games? Why doesn't he play them? He just keeps yapping about games like these not existing. Sniper Elite?
I have this theory that in a few years, we're going to see a turn back to the golden era of video games, and people are going to start buying games again.
I feel like people are still buying games today.
Recently saw this crazy chart from 2023 that basically showed that people are only playing old games these days.
I don't think that's true. I highly doubt that is true. Does he know? I don't think. How would you even check if 60% of playtime in 2023 is from older games? Because people can just play single player stuff. Only if you have it through Steam or something. Wukong put up 2 million in one day. Do they count online service games that keep getting updated with woke propaganda? Ooh, woke ong.
Nobody wants to play any.
A report shows that while the industry is growing, its biggest competition is Fortnite that keeps getting updated. GTA, Call of Duty, they keep releasing a new game every year. I want to remove these things on the side.
Anything that.
How do I remove these things? I don't want to see these things. How do I remove these things? Am I stuck? I can. I want to read this article.
It's new out right now because
they're just talking about live service games.
It's all woke and it all sucks so bad. So anyway, guys, let's all hope there's a return of masculine characters in games again at some point that we can relate to.
Wow. I want to see this article. I'm actually really curious. So I feel like he just pulls out random articles. 60% of playtime in 2023 went to 6-year-old or older games, new data shows. Fortnite, a game that gets updated every 3 months. GTA, that just people play GTA, roleplay. Call of Duty, new game every year. And fucking Roblox. I don't think people are playing old games because these games have been updated 50 million times. Mind you, one of the most popular modes in Roblox is fucking Dress to Impress. And he also complains about the Kotaku and uses their articles. Fortnite is #1 on everything. Holy shit. Fortnite 1 PC, PlayStation #1, Xbox #1, Switch #1. What the fuck? Jesus Christ. The woke agenda is too powerful, guys. Either way, I'm sure they're gonna have some very funny comments here. Meanwhile, in Asia, let's give gamers what they want. Cool dudes and hoe chicks. No joke, developers of a game called Snowbreak Containment Zone saying that if we're doing what our players want. Snowbreak Containment Zone.